Hey guys, it's Nicole, and I'm back to make another card from start to finish with you today. This card is for a 1-year-old little boy's birthday, so we're going to use the Little Boy Blue collection, and his birthday is actually not till December, but I know that during the holidays it gets really busy, so I wanted to go ahead and get it out of the way and get it made so that I can just send it out. Along with this, we're going to be using the Dynamics by the numbers set, and it looks like this. And then I'm going to use the Dynamics die that goes along with it, this little number 1. I am also using this Spellbinders die, and I don't know, I always take it off the label, so if you guys need to know or want to know, just send me a message and I will tell you. And then this is the Dynamics MFT hexagon die. So that is what we're going to be using today, and yeah, let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is I took a piece of paper tray ink cardstock in the gray color, which is called Smoky Shadow, and I cut it long ways in 8.5 and 11 piece paper. So I'm going to score this at 5.5 to make my card base. And then I'm going to just work on my base, which is a piece of powder blue Recollections cardstock. And I use a lot of the Recollections for layering because I don't like to always cut my really good cardstock just to make a border around the edge. And then this is a paper from the collection. So I'm going to clock. Okay, so we're going to adhere that right down, and we are going to do some sewing on this card, so I will be editing this video just so that you don't have to sit here and watch the top of the sewing machine. So the first thing I'm going to do is sew around the edges here just with a basic single line stitch, and it doesn't have to be perfect, and I'm just using white thread, so it's not even going to show up that much, but it's just a subtle effect. So let's, okay. And we're just going to release that and use my scissors to cut. And then we're going to just be doing a little bit more stitching. So that came out really good. I don't know if you can tell. You can probably see it better on this side. Okay. Then a little bit of adhesive, not too much because it'll gunk up your sewing machine. And I will line it up to how I like it. Just like that. And now I'm going to move this to a zigzag stitch because I want a zigzag stitch across where these two papers meet. Cut it off. There we go. Alright, so I'm going to put this aside. We will be doing a little bit of stitching on the inside of the card. So now I just like to cut off the loose pieces of string a little bit and then tape the back down, which I'll show you in a second. And I don't know how good you can see this, but it looks, am I in frame? I'm going to do a little bit of inking of a few things using the charcoal gray ink by Color Box. So we can just set this aside. It's going to be going like that. Now I have this die cut. Just go all around the edges. Alright. So then I just want to kind of figure out my placing here. I know I want this kind of up here, and I have some buttons to go down here, so I'm thinking like this might be the best. So I always just take my pencil and make like a little tick mark where I want this lined up, and then I'm going to put some adhesive on it and lay it down. drag it across there so that it lines up nice and perfectly. And then I just erase that line. Then I may actually want this on pop dots, so I'm going to work on this little area first. The first thing I did was I took a punch, and I'm going to ink this a little bit around the edges, and I just punched out some of that same powder blue paper. Just a little inking, it doesn't have to be a lot because you don't really see it. And then I used my smallest nestabilities to cut out the smoky gray to put right in the middle so that that blue makes a border. So I'm going to lay this on top. And then I have this number 1, and I don't want to ink it, but I want it to go right in the center, just like that. So that's going to kind of go right here, but first I'm going to stamp some words on this green paper that I think goes really well with this. And again, this is just Recollections cardstock. It's actually from their Valentine's set that had all the pinks and stuff with it. Okay, so the first thing we're going to stamp is the word happy. And again, we're going to use that color box ink. Stamp it on the scrap piece paper. And then I'm going to take that off my block and put the word on this one. So there we go. It says happy birthday. And now I just want to cut around these so that they're just like rectangles around the word. And then you want to ink the edges again of both of these. And I just like how this green will contrast with the pattern paper in the background, you'll see, instead of stamping directly on to the background. Alright. So now let's start, kind of figuring out where our layout is going to be. It's going to say happy first birthday. And then we want the ST for first, and that's going to... It's not very dark, it's kind of, like I said, that is pretty dry. Now I'm wondering if I want to lay this flat and then just pop up the first. In that moment, alright, I'm going to use these pop dots. Okay, if you can hear Reagan in the background, she's playing with my husband in the living room. Okay. And I'm thinking that looks pretty good. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of tape to the back. So the next step is, I have a couple buttons from my stash that are super little, and I added off camera some of this paper tray ink button twine, and then to this red one I added this lawn fawn lawn trimmings in gray. So I want these to go on the bottom. I want them kind of like all lined up on the side here. So like that, and then like that. And this little one's going to go right there. So it's going to look just like that. Okay, so now I'm going to adhere this to the front of the card. Just line that right off. Cute. Okay, so now the middle of the card. Let's get started on. And again, I have another piece of that blue cardstock. And here's another piece of paper from the paper collection. And I'm just going to put adhesive. And then this is where I'm going to write my sentiment. So I'm going to just leave that there. And I I just use that same Nestabilities. But I always like to have like a little place where I can kind of write something. And then from the paper, one of the papers has these little, I don't know, flashcards. So I want, and this one has the 1, and then this one just has little elements. So I want to line these up along the bottom, like this, and then just sew, and then this duck. And I think I actually want the duck to go underneath the Tin Man, because he's like my favorite element. Just like that, and then I'm going to just sew a stitch. And that's it, guys. Now I'm just going to adhere this to the inside of the card. And that's the card for today. Hope you enjoyed. Bye.